So I'm going to go ahead and go over how to do a scene in GoGuardian. So you're going to click on the scene tab, and the left side is when you only want your students to go on a few websites. So it's the allowed website list. You would use this if you're giving a test or only want them to go on certain research websites rather than have access to most of the internet. This right here is when you want them to have so many resources, main access to the entire internet, but there's certain ones that you don't want them to go on because you don't want them to get distracted. So I'll show you the use of each one. The left side, again, is your allowed websites list. So when I use this when my students are taking math tests. So you don't need to add a block. You can change your color, and then you're going to click next, and then it's going to say which websites do you want your student to be on. So for our math tests, I only want my students to go on Delta Math. So I type in Delta Math, and then it pops up right there, and I can click add, and then now that's the only website that my students can go to, which is super cool. So then I hit save, and now I have a scene that says math tests. You can edit that if you want to add more in. You can also have a better filter if you need it. And the other really cool thing about this is this little auto open right here. So when the students log in on their Chromebook, if you check that off, when they go into Chrome, it'll automatically come up with a Delta Math website. They won't have to Google it or search for it, which is super cool to just automatically populate for them. So I don't use this allowed one as much as I do the other one. So I'm going to hit save, and then this is the one that I use for my credit recovery class or when I want students working on a project, but I don't want them to get distracted by all the things that they like to get distracted with. So you would hit create list, and then this would just be the name of that list. So I'm just going to put projects, and then you would hit next, and then what don't I want them on when they're working on a project. So I don't want them on Netflix. So you can see what's really cool is when you pop up with Netflix, and it searches for Netflix, you can add all these. I don't want them on YouTube. Sometimes they can use that for educational reasons, but I'm going to block it here. Music, I usually do let my students listen to music, but not always. Another big thing that students use that I don't want them to use because it's not actually their brain is Brainly. And so I'm just going to pick Brainly, and that automatically locks them out from getting anything on Brainly. But you can see there's a whole bunch of other websites that we have for Brainly. So it's not just that. So if you know students are getting their answers from other places, you can do that as well. It looks like Brainly in other countries is on here too, so you might want to exclude those. And speaking of workarounds and things like that, I will show you guys, and I could share this with you if you're interested. My No Videos website blocked list is this. So it has a bunch of things that I've noticed kids have come across, you know, baseball games and things like that. But the really interesting thing is that you can get this extension right here called brainly.rip, and it actually allows students to do some sort of backdoor workaround to get Brainly answers. So they just created a separate website with everything that's on Brainly, but didn't make it exactly Brainly, and that's how it's on there, so I ended up blocking it. That's what's beautiful about GoGuardian. You can see what websites your students are on because you'll get a picture of their screen, and then if you don't feel it's what's best for them, you can go ahead and exclude it, and then they can progress in an appropriate manner.